Hey, what's up? This is Dan Donegan from Disturbed, and you're watching Music Universe.
So Dan, welcome to Music Universe.
Thank you. Good to be back here. We're looking forward to the show tonight.
You know, there's the obvious question because David Draymond said online that, you know, the band is not maybe, you won't be, you know, again together at the end of this tour. So what's your side of the story?
Okay, so that's going to be the first question. I'm getting right to it, right? You know, we just haven't really discussed it, to be honest with you. We've been going strong for over a decade of writing, recording, touring, and just keep on rotating into the next thing. And you know, usually we know in advance what our next step is, and right now we just haven't really discussed it. We're going to finish this tour. We're going back to the States tomorrow to finish the Mayhem tour. We're going to South America for the first time to do 4 shows there, and we just haven't really put much thought past that. So we're kind of uncertain at this point. We're not really sure what we want to do at this point.
You just need, you know, a good break.
You know, that it just, like I said, we just haven't really discussed what we want to do. I mean, I really can't really comment much more on it because the future is kind of uncertain to me. I'm really not sure about it. We just haven't sat down as a group and said, where do we go from here? You know, we've 5 albums deep in over a decade, and you know, I think we're just ready to kind of you know, stop for a minute and think about what's next.
Good. Also, we just said that it's the coldest day of the old tour. And on the new album, there's a song, Another Way to Die, and it talks about global warming. So it's pretty hot right here in Canada and in the US. So I'd just like to know, you know Testament, the band Testament, they did a song, The Greenhouse Effect, back in 1989. So it's still, you know, a fresh subject. So are you afraid of this global warming for real?
Well, I mean, it seems pretty obvious that there's been some major changes going on with the climate. I think this past week in the U.S. there was like over 45 states that were in the 90s or higher, which is very odd and rare. And we're just chasing this heat wave. And you know, with writing Another Way to Die, it was just we're not all of a sudden waving the Greenpeace flag of you know, of global warming and stuff, but we wanted to kind of raise an awareness on such a big subject, and just figured, you know, if maybe take a look around us. There's some obvious changes, and maybe if everybody made subtle changes in their lives, it can make a difference. You know?
Also, back in the days, journalists ask all the musicians, do you remember when you first heard one of your songs on the radio? But since there's no more metal on the radio, do you remember the first time that you listened to one of your songs? For example, for the movies Dawn of the Dead, the remake, there's Down with the Sickness at the end. You remember that?
Yeah, I mean, anytime in the beginning to hear our stuff on the radio was very, you know, surreal to us at the moment, because at the time, coming from Chicago in the mid to late 90s, there wasn't really much of a scene for a band like us, and we didn't know how the rest of the world was with our type of music. So once our music started being played on radio, it was quite shocking to us. And I remember the first time hearing Stupefy, which was our first single off the album, and being in like a Walmart or something on a day off, going to buy some socks or something for the RV, you know, touring an RV back then, and walking through the electronics department and actually hearing Stupefy being played in the store. That's when it really dawned on me, like, wow, we're outside of our hometown. It's being played in a store. I forgot what state we were in, but you know, some other part of the country, and that was a pretty surreal moment for me.
Also, you are the owner of Intoxication Records with David, and you signed the Canadian band Art of Dying. At first, Intoxication Records was just for Disturbed, but you decided to expand your horizons?
Well, I mean, it wasn't just for Disturbed. It was built with the intentions of trying to find local bands and trying to help open the door. But you know, it's a tougher process than we realized. I mean, me and David have been searching for a decade of trying to find that band that we were both very passionate about, that we felt had every piece to the puzzle, and it's hard to find, and hard to be the first one to find that when you got other labels and other people that have the time and dedicate their lives to only searching for that. So when our life is consumed with Disturbed, and for us to try to beat somebody to the punch of finding an undiscovered talent, and we didn't want to take a band that we have to mold and try to make them into the next Disturbed. We want to find a band who knows their identity, who already writes good songs and good hooks. And with Art of Dying, we found that. I got a friend of mine passed along a demo to me a few years back, probably 4 years ago, and I thought the band was great. They had catchy songs. I talked to the singer, Johnny, and we kept in touch, and we said, we really want to see this band, but with our busy touring schedule and them being 3 of the guys in the band formed in Vancouver, it was really hard to see them. So we brought them out on tour with us last album cycle. We said this would be the best test. Let's throw them in front of a Disturbed audience, an unknown Canadian band, and see how they could handle our crowd and see if they could win them over. And they did that. It impressed us that they held their own. Nobody knew any of their music, and by the end of that tour, they gained a fan base. And it was clear to us that these guys had every ingredient to being a band. They're happy with throw them in a van and give them their guitars and a case of beer, and they're the happiest guys in the world. And that's all they need is their music, and they're Canadian. They need their music, they need their beer, and they're happy.
Good. Also, I know that you are a father, a daddy of 2 kids. Do you bring your kids on tour? Because it's a festival, it's summertime.
Yeah, they're out with me today too. As much as I can. It's usually whenever we tour the U.S. and Canada, I'm able to bring them out full time. I haven't really brought them overseas yet, just because they're good on planes, but those are pretty long plane rides when we're going to Europe and a lot of flying from country to country. But here, taking the tour bus over and just kind of living that life, it's great. It gives me an opportunity to balance out, family in my music career, and they love it. My daughter's 7 now, my son's 4, and they both, have been living this since the day they were born. So it's kind of funny. 2 years ago on my daughter's birthday, we were back home, and we asked her what did she want to do for her birthday, and she wanted to stay in a hotel room downtown in Chicago because she's so used to being in different hotels. I'm like, really? You don't want to have a party at the house? She's like, I want to stay in a hotel, downtown, and it's what she's used to and what she loves to do.
Also, I want to go back in time with the album The Sickness, because I did some research over the internet about the cover of the album. A lot of people say this is a guy with a towel, this is a guy with a shirt, this is a guy blah blah blah. But there's the McAdams and Morford, they used to produce poison. So could you tell us here in the province of Quebec what this cover is all about?
This cover actually is a close-up of basically a birthing canal. It's I don't know if I could say vagina on here, but yeah, it was just a close-up shot. There was the photographer Paul Brown that we use. Usually does a lot of dark images, and he had a lot of like medical stuff and all these little props in that, and he took a close-up shot of that. And I guess now that it's been out for over a decade, we got away with it. But I think if the Walmarts or Targets of the world would have probably tried to put a stop to having a vagina on the cover of the record. But it's kind of the birth of the monster, if you will. No, it's a similar image to it, but it's basically just the birth of the band, the birth of the monster that is Disturbed.
Yeah. So Dan, thank you very much. So tout le monde, Disturbed, toujours vivant.